she said it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, how you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
Wonderful.
Good. Okay, let me make sure I got everything good to go. Give me a test sentence so I can see if your audio is coming across clear.
Welcome to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman.
Okay, hold on one sec here. Let me make sure. Where are you? Audio settings. Okay. No, fine. Got it. I had all. One second. Alright. Let's see. Okay. Try one more time.
Welcome to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman.
No, nothing's coming across here. I'm seeing me, but not you. Alright, let's get speakers. Testing. Yeah, why are you guys not coming across? That's weird. Me too. Okay. Line 1, line 2, we're good to go. Microphone is on. Configuration, audio mixer. Speakers. Oh, this is supposed to be line 1, isn't it? Testing. Alright, one more time for me, guys.
Welcome to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman.
I'm hearing a little bit. It's too quiet. Testing. Okay, how about now? I'm sorry, I'm being a pain in the butt.
We got to get it right.
Yeah, me too. Test. Okay, hold on. Here's the beat. Alright, you know what? I'm going to do something real quick here.
Okay.
So we can get started. I'm going to just reset.
Give us 1 second, guys. We're having a little technical issues, but we'll be with you in 1 moment. Hey, Ed, what's going on, Monty? Hey, Bishop.
Hello, everyone that's tuning in. We'll be right with you. Great morning.
It is
yes,
a great
it
morning.
is. WJMS is just trying to fix some things on their end, so we'll get going in just a few moments. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can start keying them in or email us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
Hey, Donna.
Oh, hi, Donna.
While we're fixing that on the other end, guys, we're excited. Thank you all for tuning in to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. I tell you, we're just so excited for part 2.
Yes.
Oh, man, this has just been so awesome all week long.
It has.
We just been feasting off of the last week's episode. I tell you, we're just so excited. Hey, Ebony, we love y'all guys as well.
We're good, Donna.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to test some more things and make sure something's ready.
Okay, and we're just going to keep talking to the people. Okay.
Yeah, so as you see, we experienced a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's okay because we're excited anyway. It's going to be awesome. You guys want to make sure you just stay tuned in It's going to be a lot of exciting, impactful information that's going to be shared in this part 2 with WJMS Radio. And I tell you, you want to make sure that not only you're on here, but you want to let your friends know, you want to let your neighbors know, you want to let your family know, those that have blended families, those that's seeking to go into a blended family, and those that just want to have a better understanding about a blended family. You want to make sure that you're tuned into this broadcast. We're going to be discussing some things that people really want to know. Not a bunch of surface stuff, but we're going to get a little deeper into the broadcast in a couple of minutes. So you want to stay tuned. We're excited.
Yes.
WJMS is excited. Hit that share button. Share.
Thank you, Donna.
Yes, this is going to be awesome. I tell you, we've just been getting so many reports, so many praise reports of how In the Blender has been a blessing to different individuals, with what they've been dealing with in their family dynamic, things that they've never even thought about. Now they're beginning to put it in place, and how they're watching their families and their lives just change for the better. And we're excited just to be a part of it. We have, this is our going to 20th year of marriage. We dated for about 4 months, if that. Here we are 20 years later with an awesome blended family and a granddaughter we can't get rid of. Yeah. She's sitting over here looking at me. So we're excited to be with you guys. So how we doing, Jamie?
I'm good. I'm ready when you guys are. I can put my intro on and we can get started.
Let's roll.
We're ready.
Okay. You'll hear it play in a second, I think. Hopefully you'll hear it play in a second.
Okay.
The views and opinions expressed by any host or guest of WJMS Radio do not reflect the beliefs of its owners or associates. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to WJMS Radio or the show host whose words, advice, and or opinions appear from or on our website. Come on in.
And now, it's time to sound off with jams on WJMSradio.com. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we on the air?
You're listening to WJMSradio.com. This chick is a sick individual. You're tuning the sound off with your girl right here on WJMS Radio. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Sound Off right here on WJMSradio.com. This is your girl, Jen. I will be joining you guys live from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. today. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, as is the case usually, but we are up and we are running, and I am so very excited to have this show today. This is the second half of our mini-series, and unfortunately the final half of our mini-series about blended families. I have special guests Brandon and Madeline Hyman on the phone with me. They're also broadcasting live on Facebook. If you guys have an opportunity and you want to see them live while they discuss, please feel free to go to their pages. It's Madeline, Madeline, or Brandon, and the last name is Hyman. Search them on Facebook, and you should be able to watch their feed live as they interview with me today on WJMS. I want to thank the sponsors of Sound Off and WJMS Radio, Guided Solutions. If you guys have an opportunity, please check out GuidedSolutionsLLC.com. They are a business that can help you and your business operate more efficiently. So if you have issues with people, profit, or process, or anything in between, if you just need some help or some guidance, George from Guided Solutions can definitely be of service to you. He's a great guy, and he's also a wealth of knowledge when it comes to business solutions. So please check them out. You can also find them on our website, WJMSradio.com, and they're on social media at GuidedSolutionsLLC.com, or that's it, on Instagram as well, so you can check them out. And give them a share, give them a like, and if you get the opportunity to give them a call, they'll actually give you some free promotional stuff for dealing or for saying that you got their information from WJMS Radio. So there's really no reason for you guys to not give them a try if possible. Make sure you reach out and support your local businesses. Thanks to the folks behind the scenes at WJMS and Sound Off that help make all this possible and keep me sane. I appreciate all your hard work, and your camaraderie is definitely appreciated, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Also, before I get into the show for today, I want to make sure I remind you that the phone lines are wide open for the entire show. So if you want to give us a call, you can call me at 914-619-5267. Again, it's 914-619-5267. You can also tweet us if you're shy and you want to chime in but you don't want to call onto the show. It's at WJMS_radio on Twitter, and we'll read your tweets and comments live on air. You can also follow us at WJMS Radio on Facebook and Instagram as well. So let me get into the show for this afternoon. If you're just joining us and you didn't catch last week's episode, special guest Brandon and Madeline Hyman. Brandon is a native of Washington, D.C. He's been happily married to Madeline for 19 years. He's the father of one son and a grandfather of four, and he's currently a sales manager with one of the largest solar companies in the country. He also is co-host of In the Blender with his wife Madeline, which they host every Tuesday night at 7:30 on Facebook. You can always check that out as well. They talk about all kinds of various topics that happen in a blended family. Also, Madeline, she's been happily married to Brandon for 19 years, of course. She's the mother of 3 beautiful daughters and the grandmother of 7. And for the last 9 years, she's been employed with a nationally known TV station in the Washington, D.C. area. She's also a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer. And again, she's also the co-host of In the Blender on Tuesday nights via Facebook Live. So, good afternoon, Brandon and Madeline. I'm so excited to have you guys back again and to finish this mini-series that we're doing here. So this is probably my favorite section of the blended family discussion, and that's discipline and how to make it work and sibling rivalry, which are some of the things that all blended families typically deal with. So I'm really, really excited to have you guys here to talk about that, shed some light on it, maybe give the audience some best practices that you guys have put into play in your own family. So how are you guys doing, and how's it going down in D.C.?
We are doing wonderful. We're excited. We're happy to get this information out. And we also want to take a moment to thank you for giving us the opportunity to even share this information via WJMS Radio. We just want to spread this word to as many people as possible, just to let them know that even if you are a blended family, it's just as normal as a regular family. And if you apply these principles that we're putting out, you can be successful as well.
That's right. Blended families are made easy. And so we just want to encourage you guys to continue to just strive forward, continue to take the information that we're sharing. And we're excited. Thanks for having us, Jamie.
Of course, anytime. And I'm hoping, like I said, this is the last half of our mini-series, but I hope it's not the last time we discuss this stuff. And I would love to join you guys on Facebook Live some night to be on In the Blender as a special guest host someday.
Oh,
We'll
yes.
put that in our back pocket for later.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about, let's get some facts for the audience that may be just joining us and weren't with us last week. So for those that don't know, approximately 60% of all marriages in the United States end in divorce, unfortunately. 75% of those couples then remarry or recouple with somebody else. And 66% of these unions, step-families, if you will, typically break up when children are involved. So these are some serious statistics, and nowadays they actually say that the blended family, or the step-family, if you will, is becoming the new norm. You know, nowadays it's not as normal to see the original mother and the original father with the original children together. Now you're starting to see more of a blended family where families split and the children then come together and make a new family together. So this is something that I find is interesting because as I was looking up information on blended families and just like different little, stuff that you may not know and like little fun facts, you don't find a lot of that information online. I feel like a lot of times people just ignore the fact that blended families are now a major thing. And I found that to be pretty interesting. And I mean, as a blended family yourself, Brandon and Madeline, like, do you guys find that it's difficult to find resources when you're going through something? I know you've been together for quite some time now, so you've probably worked out most of the kinks that come with being a new blended family. But when it comes to finding research and finding documentation or finding even therapy or places you can go to chat about stuff, do you find that it's hard to find those locations and find those avenues for help?
Sometimes it can be extremely hard, and there's a lot of factors that play into that. One of the things is that we understand that the blended family dynamic is somewhat still taboo. Although it's relevant, although it's almost surpassed the regular family dynamic, if not have already surpassed it, in the eyes of most people, it's still taboo. A lot of people really don't want to talk about it. And those that do talk about it, they've had such a negative experience that there isn't a lot of good information out there. And some of the information out there, it's not coming from somebody that has had a successful blended family or have a successful blended family. And so that's one of the reasons why we started In the Blender, because we wanted to let people know that, listen, regardless of how you got here, you're here. And there are a lot of tools and things that you can learn that will enable you to have the success that you so desire.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I was just finding myself that it was just a little under-resourced. You know, it seems like, even though, like you said, there's a lot of folks that are writing that weren't necessarily in blended family situations, that was mostly what I found. You know, like I found that it was mostly people that either were just commenting on it from, you know, outside of the situation and don't actually either have a blended family or haven't been in one. Or they're just folks that are speculating on what they perceive the issues are, what they perceive would be the solutions to some of the problems that you come up with. So I thought that would be an interesting question to ask you guys as actual folks that might be looking for resources sometimes on how to navigate these treacherous waters, if you will, of a blended family. But I think we should start getting into the discussion on discipline, because this is something that has been one of the main topics when we first started discussing having you guys on the show was this one aspect of it, because it is such a major breaking point, I believe, for a lot of families. You know, like it's hard to discuss this because, you know, you never want to look at your children or think that your children are anything but little angels. But we all know that that's not always the case, and sometimes, you know, little Bobby, little Susie might need a little bit of discipline if they're getting a little out of hand. And when you're in a blended family, there becomes this gray area of, okay, well, whose responsibility is it to do that, or am I allowed to even do that? So before we get into, you know, the questions I have, and of course the listener questions that came about, I want to ask you guys how you sort of handled that topic in your own blended family. When it came down time to discipline one of the children, what was that process like, and what was the outcome after that?
Okay, I'll start this off. For us, it was a very tough challenge. And I say that because, of course, it was just myself and my daughters before I got married for so long. And I was the one that was doing, you know, disciplining the girls. You know, I did all the corrections. I did all the punishments because it was just me and them. However, when Brandon came along, he came in and he just kind of took over, like, right away with disciplining the girls. And at that particular time, that was like a big problem for us, because he came in and he started, you know, doing the disciplinary actions. And of course, it wasn't the way that I did it. They wasn't used to, you know, someone brand new coming in and just telling them what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And it caused a lot of issues for us. Going back now, looking back now, it was totally wrong the way that we did it. And it wasn't that I didn't want to correct them anymore. Once he came in, he kind of just took over everything. And it caused a problem because at that particular time, he was doing the corrections, and then my daughters were like really upset with me because they were looking at me like, how are you just letting him come in and tell us what to do and tell us when to do it and tell us how to do it when you were the one that was doing this? So it caused problems with not just Brandon and I, because I didn't like the way at that particular time that he came in and took things over, and I didn't even like the way that he was correcting them and giving them the orders like that, you know, at that particular time. And then so I had to deal with him on one end, and then I had to deal with the girls because they felt like I just let him come in and take over, and then I had to deal with him because he came in and just took over. So that was like one of our major issues with the discipline. I'll let you add, and then we can.
Well, she got me all choked up over here. You know, I'm dealing with some allergies over here. But no, I had no idea. I was very clueless as it related to coming into this dynamic and how discipline should take place. I come from a very strict household. My father was like a drill sergeant, sort of say. He was one of those guys that when you clean the house, he would come through with the white glove test. And so I'm still used to a very clean household, things in order, things in place. And so for me, coming into this dynamic, I had no clue on how to navigate water softly or tread water lightly. And so I came in like gung-ho, like blowing the whistle, 5 o'clock in the morning, time to get up. I didn't literally blow the whistle, but that's the mentality that I had. And so Don't laugh at me, Jamie. And so it created a lot of problems starting off. The girls, they weren't used to that. They weren't used to that male figure being so dominant in the household, because again, they were with their mom for 9 years, and so they were used to a different type of discipline, a different type of approach as it related to discipline. And so, but one thing about me was I was real, and I am real keen on being right. And that's not the point of being right, but that's being right. And so I wanted to be right with my daughters. I wanted to be right with my wife. And so when I realized that there were things that I was doing that was creating a big problem in my family, I began to really seek God. I sought books, articles, things of that nature. There wasn't a lot of articles there that could assist me. So I had to rely on the wisdom of God. And through that, I was able to turn things around. And I'm talking about within a matter of time, things just shifted.
And it took some time, though.
And it took some time because there were some damage done.
Yeah.
There were some things done that for most people, it couldn't be repairable. But when you got the faith of God, and you got the favor of God, anything is possible. And so I began to just rely on that. I really sat down with my daughters, and I poured my heart out to them. And even the things that I've done, they knew I really loved them.
Right.
I was clueless. They knew I was clueless. They were looking at me like, you need to get a grip. and so because of that, because they knew my heart was right, they knew my heart was pure concerning them, it made the corrections a lot easier than most people did. And so we just encourage you that talk about discipline beforehand. I don't want to get ahead of you, Jamie, but I wish we would have talked about how we was going to discipline, the way we were going to discipline, and who should actually be the disciplinarian starting off.
Well, I think we didn't really talk about it, openly like that. But we talked about how you were correcting, like when it was just me and you.
No, I'm talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, so in the beginning, though, we did not do that.
Correct.
So, because I was thinking, as I was researching and reading through everything, and what you said just made a great point. The first thing that you said, in the do's and don'ts of disciplining for, being a blended family, is that you have to make sure that, well, number one, you got to discuss it first. Like, you can't go in, like you said, guns a-blazing and blowing the whistle and everything. But they did say, you have to make sure that your partner supports you 100%, and that your partner, the biological parent, has your back. Because, they have to be the ones to communicate the expectation of obedience to the step-parent or to the father or mother figure in the household to back you up. Because that's how it works. And then it's like, if you guys disagree, like you said something important when you said you disagreed, Madeline, with how he was disciplining the children, and you brought that to him separately. They said that that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to communicate about it first, but if they're, lo and behold, like, whatever happens, you got to have each other's back, because if they show, or if there's any sign of weakness, or any sign of, discord between the two of you guys, the kids will take advantage, and they'll be able to pit each other against, pit you guys against each other. So you did make my first point exactly, was just, making sure that your partner has your back and that they're backing you up. And, it's good to hear that a couple doesn't have it 100% right. There's some mistakes that were made, and it's good that you guys own that, and you're like, we did this all wrong. This was not the way we're supposed to do it. And I was going to ask you, if you had any trouble, Brandon, kind of gaining the girls' trust back after that whole situation. Like, how long of a process was it to gain their trust back and to really say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was kind of, out of line here with what I was doing. How long was that process for you?
It was different with each girl. One, it was like, I had the biggest problem with, or the biggest issue with, and we repaired things like immediately. And the younger one, because she had such a strong bond with her natural dad, it took a little longer with her, but I think we had the most heartfelt reunion, sort of say, when we finally had an opportunity to sit down and really share our hearts. We both driving, and you can imagine a big grown man, he's talking with his daughter, and he's snotting going down the road, but it was awesome because, we both began to just pour out to each other. We both did some things, we both said some things that we wish we wouldn't have, but we did, and we couldn't take them back. But we both shared our hearts as it relates to where we were when we did and said those things. And because we were truthful with each other and honest with each other, it was an easy transition. I would say probably about maybe...
It was years, though.
Yeah, I was going to say about 3 to 5 years it took to repair. It took to repair a relationship. We kind of like, in the interim, we kind of dealt with each other because we had to. But I'll say this, it jokingly, but it was in the back of my mind all the time. I say it all the time. My wife comes from a huge family. And so, you know, when you're growing up, you don't want to mess with that family that got more than 5 siblings. Well, that's my wife times 2. So, you know, not only did she got a lot of sisters, she got a lot of brothers too. One of them was a former cruiserweight champion, boxing champion, and so you knew with certain things you just wasn't going to do because you didn't want to deal with certain things. So I just wanted to make sure. Exactly. One against 11 is not good odds, in my opinion. So, but no.
Well, let's take the first break of the show here.
Yes.
We'll take a real quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue the discussion on discipline and how to handle the backlash that may come from the discipline. You know, it sounds like you guys have a little bit of experience in that as well. But also how to, you know, build that relationship so that when it does come down to discipline, it's not so polarizing of a topic for the children that you're with. So everybody stay tuned. When we come back on the other side, we'll hit that and a little bit more. Again, folks, the lines are wide open. If you have questions about discipline in your own blended family household, or if you just have questions in general, please feel free to give us a call at 914-619-5267, and we'll be right back. All right.
We're on a little break, guys. Stay tuned in.
I'm going to try it down here. Yeah. So, this is going good, guys. I'm really excited.
Oh, we're excited.
Yes.
This is good. This is really good. I'm glad to hear you guys had it. Not glad to hear, like that's not the right way to say it, but I'm happy to see that you guys were able to like work through the issues that you had with discipline and kind of fix them and stuff like that. Like I wasn't sure if that was a topic where you guys kind of had the same thing, because it's like some families discipline different. I come from a generation where, you know, we got beatings as kids. Like we got spankings. That's what it was. Like that was the discipline we got. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, discipline has moved away from that and it's moved more towards I don't even know what to say. It's more like a, you know, talking to or put them in the corner type thing and stuff like that. But it's definitely a different type of discipline that happens nowadays than it was, you know, maybe even like a decade or 2 decades ago.
Yes.
Very much so.
Different now.
Very much so.
Yeah, and I think we'll bring that up when we get back on air. Of course, we'll talk about how discipline has changed over the years and stuff like that, and how it's changed from where we were to where we are now. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, I look at kids now and I'm like, if I did that to my mom in the store, it's the last thing I ever did, like, ever in my life. So it's kind of funny, but.
That is so true. We wouldn't even think to do some of the stuff that these kids do and say now. You get smacked for thinking about wanting to talk back.
Exactly. Like, and then it's like, you know, you felt bad about it. Nowadays, kids do it and they don't have any remorse. Like, they have no guilt. They're like, yeah, I told my mom she was, swearing at their parents or whatnot. I'm like, man, I would be dead. I would have no teeth.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't need to worry about swearing at my mom. If she was knocked on my teeth out and I'd have been all set. Like,
yep, that's right.
Craziness.
That's right.
My mom didn't play that. I'm the youngest of 3, so by the time she got to me, well, first of all, by the time I got to any age where I needed discipline, I had already watched my brother and sister go through it, so I was smart enough to be sneakier, if you will.
Yeah,
But, they still weren't having it, you know, they still weren't playing that. So, like, now, we went through this with your sister and your brother, we're not doing this again.
Right.
So, I didn't have much wiggle room for that type stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Are you still watching? Hi, Anthony.
Yeah, they're still watching. Hi, guys.
John the other day, actually. Yeah, I was just chatting with him. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But, all right, we got about a minute or so left.
Okay.
So, actually, when this show ends today, I'm going to play, not this episode, but I'm going to play both episodes tomorrow at 7. So, I think I mentioned that to you before. It's going to play for 4 hours on Sunday night, starting at probably 6 p.m. So, anybody that missed any section of it can tune in tomorrow and catch it.
Okay. Cool.
All right, that's 30 seconds here. Let me put the music back on in my ear so I can hear it. All right, let's see. Welcome back to Sound Off on WJMS Radio. This is your girl, Jam. If you're just joining us, I have special guests Brandon and Madeline Hyman on the phone with me. They are a happily married couple of 19 years in a blended family, and we are right in the middle of our discussion on discipline in blended families. Phone lines are still open, folks. If you want to call in and ask questions or just comment on the conversation, please feel free to give us a call at 914-619-5267, or you can tweet us at WJMS_radio on Twitter, and we'll read your tweets and comments live on the air. So right before the break, I mentioned that we were going to talk a little bit about dealing with the backlash of discipline, which it sounds like you had a little bit of when you first started out, Brandon. And I want to know now, as you guys have progressed and obviously gotten over the first humps of discipline issues in the family, as you guys are now, how did you handle the backlash of when kids are like, obviously the first sentence they say is, "You're not my real mom," or "You're not my real dad," or blah, 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 blah. How did you handle that power struggle, when it came down time for discipline?
I think it was a little easy as far as that relates, because I did sit down with their dad and we discussed discipline. He was on board with me on my take of discipline, so I didn't have an issue as it related to that. My issue was simply just I didn't have wisdom concerning discipline. But the backlash piece, there was a lot of backlash. I dealt with a lot of things with the girls, with my wife, with the extended family. But I was determined to make this work. I was determined to fix whatever I messed up. And I was determined to repair whatever relationships that I damaged. And so I really just began to just open myself up. I think a lot of it came too because I'm a very private person. And so I always kept to myself. But when you're trying to repair and mend things, you have to open yourself up sometimes. And so I began to open myself up with my wife, with my family, with my girls, and, begin to just talk about certain things. I listened to their point of view, they listened to my point of view. And we just found that medium where we can just come together, and regardless of what happened, it just, you will be amazed how fast and how smooth and how beautiful things just gel together. And but it takes effort.
Yeah. And really it took time, because all of what we're doing, none of it was really overnight.
At all.
Some of it was a very long process. Some of the mending was very long, because I even had to get back to the place where I had to get my relationship, back right with the girls, because again, they were looking, it almost like for me, being the natural mother in the home, it was almost like a tug of war. It was like, when you have someone on one end of the rope, someone else on the other end of the rope, it was like, I felt like I was being pulled this way. So if I'm pulled this way, then the girls think that, I'm taking Brandon's side. So when I was being pulled this way, or wanted to try to, please my daughters, he felt like I was taking their side. So I, for years, felt like it was being pulled. Sometimes I'm tugged this way, this side get pulled a little stronger. Sometimes that side got pulled a little stronger. So for me, it was very tough in the years, but my main thing was I wanted to make it. I did not want to go through another divorce, and I was determined that whatever we had to do to make this marriage work and to be a success, I was going to do it. So there was times when, I played the how you say, like, you play both sides of the fence. There was times where, like, when it was just me and him, okay, I'm saying one thing to him, but then when he's not around, or I take my girls, I'm saying one thing to them, something else to them, because I'm trying to keep, the relationship peaceful, keeping the unity regardless, because those are going to be my girls regardless, and then this is going to be my husband regardless. So we got to do whatever we got to do to make this work, because he's not going anywhere. You guys are not going anywhere. I'm definitely not going anywhere. So guess what? We got to make it work.
And Jamie, she was playing those both sides. Trust me, she was real good. She was real good.
You noticed that she was playing both sides?
Oh, I knew what was going on. She wasn't that smarter than me. That she had me. But again, because I really wanted to please her, and I wanted to please my family. When I began to realize, what was going on and the part that I played in the demise of the family, it just made my job now easier to just submit. And a lot of times it's hard, for men to submit, but I had to submit not only to my wife, but I had to submit to my daughters. And so because of that submission piece, it just made things a lot easier.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So, in a sense of discipline, then, obviously you guys have different styles. Madeline, what is your style of discipline with your girls? Or what was your style of discipline with your girls prior to Brandon arriving?
Oh, wow.
Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee.
See,
Van Damme.
Oh, hush. Because I came from, we had to go outside. I grew up in the country, first of all. So we had to go outside and pick our own switches. We got whooped with switches. We got whooped with belt. And you better not come back in with a little switch, because they gonna send you back outside to get another one. So you go get one a little bit more bigger. By the time you come back, you got about 10 switches that you thought were little. So they put all those switches together, and then they gonna whoop you with all of them. So after a while, you get a little wise. Let me go out here and get the best switch first. But however, I believe in whoopings. And my girls got whoopings. The problem wasn't so much that when he came in that it wasn't so much about the whoopings or the discipline. It was just that they were used to whoopings. They were used to the type of discipline that was being given by me. However, they didn't like the fact that when he came in, he took over doing it, which going back, it should have been a slow progression in. I should have still been like the main disciplinarian, and he could have fell back and then, gradually did whatever. The problem was when he came in, for me, I could no longer discipline because he took over. So that's where it was. And wasn't the type of, discipline that they were getting, because they used to get whoopings. They'll tell you, they used to get whoopings, okay? Sometimes now I look back and be like, ooh, that might have been child abuse. However, what they say now, yeah.
But let me say this, Jamie.
And that's why nowadays you get different discipline. Like, it's not that anymore. Like, I'm from that same generation. Like, I got beatings and stuff like that too. But you know what? I learned respect. And I never looked at it like it was child abuse. It was like I learned not to do whatever it is that got me that beating again, and that was what it was. Yeah. But nowadays, the style of discipline that parents give out, if you will, is totally 180 degrees different than what they did, what we got when we were younger. Now there's no more. It's like you put your hands on your kid, and all of a sudden they're calling child services on you. Or if you even think about going outside and telling them to cut their switch so that they can get a beating, or laying the belt on the door handle so they know when they come home they get in a whooping type stuff. Nowadays, they call child services on you immediately, and it's not that type of environment anymore, which I could go into for days on why the next generation behind us is so crazy and needs a couple whoopings. Because it's like, I look at kids now in the store, and I'm like, if I even thought about saying something like that to my mother or my father in the store, it was a wrap. Like, I was done. I wouldn't have to worry about talking about the Snickers bar or the Skittles that I wanted, because I'd be dead. I don't need Skittles when I'm dead. It would have been totally different, if I even thought about saying the type of stuff or doing the type of stuff that these kids do nowadays to their parents. So the style of discipline nowadays is totally different, and it's really strange how it's shifted like that.
Yeah, but like I was gonna say, like for me, I'm more vocal. I'm very vocal as it relates to in discipline, very vocal, and so I had no clue on how to discuss what needed to be discussed with my girls. It was real harsh. I kind of dealt with them like they were boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you can't be, you can't have that same kind of relationship with your girls as you do with your sons. And so I dealt with them like that. It was very rash, very harsh, very blunt, very straightforward. And so it shut everybody down.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where a lot of the problems came. And I had to learn how to be tender.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to be light with what I said and wisdom on how to say it. And sometimes I had to say it in a jokingly manner just to get it across. And so that's where I really missed the mark. Because I came up with a drill sergeant. I came up with someone that was like, rah, 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 rah. And so, although my mom, she was somewhat like that herself, but my mom is very political about things. She's a very wise woman, especially when it comes to discipline. And so she'll discipline you. You don't really know you're being disciplined until after it's done. And I missed that part. I kind of missed that part when I was doing it. But, you know, because of the backlash that we endured, because of everything we endured, we just really work hard to get to where we are now.
Okay. So, because I look at it, you know, and like I said in the previous episode, I'm not, I don't have kids right now, and I'm not, dealing with any blended family issues myself right this moment. But it seems to me, or it would appear to me that, like, a blended family, having, two parents in the household is sort of like having a babysitter. And what I mean by that is when you go out, mommy and daddy have a date, you get a babysitter to watch the kids. And when you have a babysitter, the children know that the babysitter is the proxy for the parent. So whatever the babysitter says, well, mommy and daddy are out, it goes. Like, that's it. That's how it is. Like, they have the power to put the kids in time out, take away privileges, declare bedtime, because the parents passed that power onto the babysitter, and the kids respected that, and the kids understood that. So, and that empowers the babysitter at that point, too, to feel like a disciplinarian, like they can set those boundaries and impose consequences, et cetera, that eventually, get owned by the parent when they come home. And that's kind of how I look at, that's sort of how I look at a blended family situation. It's like the person coming into the situation is not the biological parent, is, for lack of a better term, like the babysitter. And the biological parent gives that power to the stepfather or the stepmother, whatever, so that in their absence, the children know to respect what that person says and knows that what they say go, and, there's no question about it because this is the person that I put in power for when I'm not here, and you better act right. So that's kind of how I look at it, in a sense, with the whole blended family discipline structure. It's like, the parent, the biological parent, gives the power to the other parent just to, be that proxy when they're not there. And that's kind of what I took away from it when I was looking through things. It's, that's kind of the vibe I got from it.
And, to add to that, Jamie, you have to understand, especially if you're the man coming into the blended family, just because you may not be the disciplinarian, that doesn't make you weak. It doesn't subtract from you. A lot of times as men, we think we're the ones that have to set down the rules. We have to set down the regulations. We have to set down all these things. Not having real wisdom as to, you use every piece that you need to use in order to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. One of my favorite scriptures is, he that winneth souls is wise. Had I attacked my family dynamic from a soul-winning sector, which meaning I want to win their hearts, I want to win their minds, I want to win their intellect, I want to win their emotions. If I can win that part of them, then discipline is easy, because now I have no problem with allowing my wife to do what it is that she's been doing forever, because I know we're working together as a team. But I didn't come in to win them, I came in to own them. And it's a difference between winning and owning. And so I just wanted to share that, because a lot of times we come in this and we want to own, we want to be the authoritative one, we want to be the one in charge. But when you win them, you understand that guess what? We're a team. We in this together. There's no big I's and no little U's. And that's how you can make discipline much easier in the household.
I agree. And the other thing that they mentioned too is that like emotional attachment and trust and love are kind of what open that door and influence that parenting. So once that's established, and a parent, a foster parent, grandparent, whatever, can then lead and discipline the child. So in what ways, Brandon and Madeline, because you both have children, so in what ways did you guys sort of build that relationship and build that trust with the girls and with the son as well, so that you could establish that sort of dynamic, if you will? Like, how did you build that relationship?
We just began to talk more. We talk more than we shouted. We talk more than we yelled. We talk more than we fussed. And so we just began to talk more. Again, because they weren't. My son was actually 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't in the home, but the girls were like teenagers and preteens. And so we just began to talk more. As they became young women, we talked even more. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I would get calls from them as parents about parenting. Now, I'm the one that they had the issue with, but I'm the one that they called about discipline and about correction and about all these other things with their children. Mm-hmm. And so that was because, I began to talk with them. I really began to just seek their heart as it relates to what should I have done differently? How do you feel I should have done things differently? And we talked about a lot of different scenarios that we had with each other. And so it just made now, going back to the discipline part, it makes it much easier because now you're talking to your children instead of fussing with them, fighting with them, arguing with them. And you'll learn a lot more by talking with your children than any other process.
Yeah, communication. That's one of the main things, communication, because if you don't talk, you don't know.
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think the other thing is, you have to play. It's not always about discipline in the house. You got to have fun with each other. You got to, joke around, play around, go out and do things that the kids like to do, go and do things that you guys like to do, and really establish that kind of funness with the family and establish those happy feelings with the family as well. Like, you shouldn't always be focused on discipline and, fostering relationships to discipline later. It should always be about, at the end of the day, about love and kindness and happiness and being a family, So discipline should always be kind of like an afterthought of everything that you do. But I think that a lot of times people, like you said, it's a hard sort of topic to talk about, and it's a hard way to navigate, and it's really just trial and error. Like, you really just kind of come in and hope for the best. But I think a lot of people lose sight that you got to play, you got to have fun before you can be a disciplinarian. You got to establish these trusting relationships with your children.
Mm-hmm.
And until you establish that relationship, you're sort of on borrowed power from a biological parent. Until you can create that relationship and your relationship with that person matures, and you can then open the door for more influence and more authority and stuff like that. So it's a delicate process. It really is.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that we had to work on as well, because we did that, and the girls saw how, I love spending time with their mom. I love spending time with them. And so even through all the trials and errors that we had, the mistakes that we did, they still knew we had fun.
Yeah.
We would travel. We do family reunions. We do trips, cookouts. We do all those things. And so they love spending that time. And that's important, because you don't want your child to see you enjoying the parent but not enjoying them. And so, I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of times that's what kids see. They see you enjoying that spouse or that parent, but they don't experience you enjoying them. And so it really makes discipline hard, because how you going to discipline and you don't even like me?
Right.
How you going to discipline me and you don't even really love me?
Well, how you going to discipline and you don't even talk to me? You don't even speak to me when I get
don't
up
want to
in the
deal with
morning.
me.
You don't want to deal with me. So how do you think that you can tell me something when you don't even want to communicate with me?
Yeah, because I struggle with that. I would get up in the morning and I'm about my grind. And I wasn't a morning person at all. It was terrible. I'm in the morning, and I didn't drink coffee. I didn't take stimulants, and so it was like, man, you got to get yourself together, dude. You blowing it big time. And so I had to begin to like mellow out, like, dude, chill. You know, what's your problem? And I had to really deal with myself. And I think a lot of times, if you don't deal with yourself, you know, you could think you could deal with causes or roots of causes, but it's really you. And so I had to deal with me. Why was I like that? And, you know, and what did I need to change that in order to get the best out of this?
That makes sense. That makes sense. Let's take one more quick break right before we break for the hour, of course. But we're going to take one more small break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk a little more about just how soon, like, into the relationship, discipline should come in. You know, like, you can't, like you said, come in, we've been dating each other for like a month and a half, and then it's like, I want to put your kids in time out. There's got to be a window of, I guess, establishment where you determine when it's appropriate for the partner to discipline the child. So we're going to hit that right before we close the last hour here. So again, phone lines are open. If you want to give us a call, it's 914-619-5267. Thank you everybody who's commenting on the Facebook stream. I can read it and see it while I'm on air too, which is cool. So we'll get to your questions and your concerns when we come back from the break. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear. Playing a little Sister Switch. Might be able to hear it. Yeah.
Stay tuned in, guys. We're on a little break.
I am here. Let me put the headphones back in so there's no echo for you guys. There we go. So, Nisi, we can get to your question when we come back from the break.
Yes.
Did you read it?
I assume that's geared more towards, you said this is a deal breaker before marriage. I don't need to. What do you mean by that? Like, what would be a deal breaker before marriage? Let me just wait for
For her to answer. Okay.
I'll actually be right back. I'm just going to go and grab, I want to watch this on my iPad instead of my phone, so I'm going to grab my iPad and watch the live stream that way instead.
Okay.
So, Nisi, what do you mean by the deal breaker? Let's get some more clarity on that question so we can answer it. Yeah, guys, we on a station break, so stay tuned. We just on a station break. We're back with you in a moment. More insight, more wisdom, more clarity. And I tell you, it's just been exciting. We love it, and we hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Put the number in, Najee.
She said, I'm coming, Brandon. We know you are, Nisi.
Are you asking the incoming spouse and the children fixed?
Nisi, when we go back on, can you call in and ask so it can be like a communication back and forth, and that way you can give clarity? Call it in, Nisi, if you can. The number's there, 914-619.
And we are back on Sound Off on WJMS Radio. Sorry to cut you off there.
That's okay.
We are back. We are taking questions from the Facebook live stream. Nisi Thomas has a couple questions. She says, should the relationship between the incoming spouse be fixed prior to our marriage or prior to marriage? So, Brendan and Madeline, I'm going to let you answer that and kind of see what your take is on that question, as opposed to, like, that's a deal breaker before you come into the relationship?
I think she's going to call Jamie. I think it was just another piece to that she wanted to put in there. So I think she's going to call in there.
Okay, great. Even better. We'll look forward to the call from Niecy then. So right before the break, we mentioned that we were going to talk a little bit about the window of opportunity for discipline in the blended family, meaning, you know, at what point do you allow the person that you're with, whether it's mother or father, to discipline your child? You know, I feel like when you get married, the vows that you take should just be like, through sickness and in health, till death do you part, or until you say something me or discipline my kids till we part. You know, like there's always that caveat when it comes to the kids as to, you know, what you accept and what you don't accept. So for you guys, what was that window? You know, how long did it take before you came in, Brandon, and started doing discipline and stuff?
Well, him coming in, there was actually no window. As soon as we said I do, he started with everything right then and there. I would say I can't really put a time on how long it should be, but I would definitely say that the relationship between that blended parent that's come in, they should definitely build a relationship first where both people feel comfortable with each other. You know, they feel comfortable with him, him or her disciplining them, and then that blended parents feeling comfortable enough to discipline them. So I think the relationship between the blended parent and the children should be developed first.
And that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
No,
I guess that's whatever window, however long it takes you to establish that relationship with the children is when that's when that discipline should be taking place. Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, the dynamics are going to be a little different when you're in the dating process, because that blended parent isn't in that home. So even though you could have started building that relationship, it's still going to be a little different once everyone's in that same home. So it would just be, dependent upon that family at that particular time.
And true, and sometimes it's not even necessary. Although we're talking about it, sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes it may not even be necessary for the blended spouse to discipline. Again, you got to assess each situation as it comes, and you got to understand that, you don't necessarily have to. I didn't necessarily have to be a disciplinary in a home. I wanted to because I had, very little understanding as related to getting things accomplished. I just thought that's what the man do. And so I soon found out that the man didn't really have to do it because the woman wasn't doing a bad job, And so when I really had that understanding, hey, I stepped back and then let moms do it. But there were some things that transpired and some healings that had to take place in order for her to even get back to the place of discipline with the girls. Because by that time, there were walls up all over the place. Right. And so we had to now chisel those walls down and knock those walls down so that now her relationship back with the girls were intact. So that she can be the mom in the disciplinary or whatever she needed to be with them so that she can help nourish them up and get them to womanhood. And so, again, it may not always be necessary. Yeah. Don't think coming into it that, especially men, that we have to, because sometimes you really don't. But even if you do, there needs to be time. You need to establish a relationship before you can go on to the next phase of that relationship. And so that's how I answer that, Jamie.
Okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Niecy, I know you're trying to give a call in right now. If you can wait until 1 o'clock, we'll grab your question right as we're coming into the next hour here, because we are going to take one more break so that we can start at 1 p.m. But before we do that, I want to give Brandon and Madeline an opportunity to shout out their contact information. So where can people find you, follow you, watch In the Blender, or anything else of that nature? Why don't you give that contact info?
Okay, we're on Facebook Live every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. You can reach us. We also have a Facebook page, In the Blender. And if you have questions, comments, you can reach us via email at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
All right, sounds good. So we're going to take one more small break, and when we come back, we're going to start our discussion on the other side we're going to talk a little little bit about sibling rivalry, which is bound to happen in any blended family. When you introduce new siblings into a household, there's going to be some beef and some issues. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to close out the conversation with some tips on how to just make it all successful. Some best advice from the couple to be here, a couple of the hour, if you will. So everybody stay tuned. And again, if you want to give us a call, the number is 914-619-5267, and we'll be right back.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, guys, I'm going to have you call back in again.
Okay.
Just because I think Skype is screwing up on me, and it's not allowing her to call. So let me hang up on you, and then if you can just call back in a second, we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Hey guys, thanks for staying with us. I tell you, it's been exciting. We hope you're enjoying this. You're getting a little insight on us and our family, or what we've dealt with, what we've gone through. It's just exciting. We're so excited to share with you guys.
Now she wants to comfort.
Say that again, Jamie.
So we should be good now. She wants to call in now. We should be okay.
Okay.
Call in,
Niecy,
Niecy.
you can call now, Niecy.
All right, there she goes. All right, you are on air, WJMS. How you doing, Niecy?
I'm great. How about yourself? Thank you for explaining that background with down for me. I appreciate you saying that. I had to come outside. I was in the hair salon, so I came outside. So, but basically, my question was, when I said, was it a deal breaker? And it sounded like Brandon was saying that these some of the things that came up after they were married. They discovered that he was favoring Madeline. I mean, not necessarily favoring Madeline, but he had a relationship with Madeline. The kids sort of relationship with Madeline. Was it something that possibly could have been, or are they suggesting working out now that we know better prior to going into the marriage, so that everybody can talk all at once before we get married and say, okay, this is how we want to discipline the kids. This is the kind of attention and time that you can expect from me, and I guess I'm asking if it's a deal breaker, if it's not established before we go into marriage, should it be?
I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker. What I will say is it can break the deal.
Right.
So I'm not going to say it's a deal breaker, but it can break the deal. And what I mean by that is, had I taken the time to really talk with the girls and really discuss some things with them as it related to discipline, even ask them how they felt if I were to discipline. For me, it just really wasn't a concern. I just thought that that's what I do. That's what I'm supposed to do. And again, they weren't little girls. They were young women. And so you have to address and attack every situation, as it presents itself. And so, not that it's a deal breaker, but it could have broken the deal, But again, we had such a strong marriage relationship and such a strong love for each other that we were willing to weather whatever came up. We were willing to fight it. We were willing to stick into it. We got a lot of ridicule, a lot of persecution behind some of the things that happened. But at the end of the day, the same ones that ridicule us and persecute us are now the same ones that's praising us. Why? Because they saw us fight through all that we fought through and come out victorious. And it's amazing. I got nieces and nephews that call me about life situations who saw the things that they went through, their cousins went through, but yet and still they saw our perseverance. Mm-hmm. They saw us hang in there, and really press through all the issues, and they trust the fact that they know that whatever we say to them is going to be on point.
Correct. And Niecy, I would agree with Brandon on it not being a deal breaker, but it can break the deal because somebody else may not have wanted to be as patient as I was with stuff. Some people just be like, oh, you're not going to treat my children anyway, you know, you got to go. Or they may be like, oh, you don't seem like you like my children. So it all depends that it can be, you know, it can break the deal because everybody may not be willing to make it work.
Yeah, that's it. And so that's what I was really wondering. Because just like you said, we could be all up in love. And, you know, now we blend the families together. And if you're, just like you said, Maddie, not as patient with Brandon and knowing that this is a new situation for everybody, and it's like, this is not sitting good. Let me bail out because my kids come first, and you know nobody's going to talk to my kids, and then you step out and step off without saying, okay, let's give this an opportunity to work and grow together. We didn't think about it in the beginning, but now that we're in it, let's try to figure it out.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you, Niecy, she showed so much patience. You know, it made wanting to get it right easy because of the patience that she did show. So I agree with her. That's a definitely an intricate part of getting this accomplished is that patience.
Okay, good. Well, I appreciate you all guys. You're doing an excellent job. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so much for
Niecy.
calling in. I hope you keep listening.
I will. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. So I played a second song so that we could continue to answer the question just because it was running over. So I just played a second song. So now we've got about a minute or so left before we come back again. I can fast forward to the end of it if we want, just so we can save time. But that's up to you guys, or we can just let it play out.
We can let it play out.
All right. Sounds good to me. Yeah, but that was definitely a good question.
Yes. Keep calling, guys. We need more of those questions. Keep calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's great. I love when we get callers.
Yeah.
As long as Skype continues to act like it's supposed to, we're good.
Good.
Sometimes, because what happens is sometimes people will go to call in and it'll say, if I answer the call, it'll put the current call on hold, which is you guys. So they'll be in there asking you questions and you guys won't be able to give them back. Like that does me no good. And then every now and then it does what it's supposed to do, which is when people call in, it joins it into a group call. And then, you know, you can hear what they're saying and I can hear what they're saying and it's like a conference call. But for some reason, Skype hates me and it's not acting like it's supposed to today. But I'm hoping and praying that for the next 54 minutes, it acts like it's supposed to.
Right.
We're good. It's gonna behave itself.
50 seconds left before we come back. So what were you going to say, Brandon?
No, I was saying it's gonna behave itself, so we're good.
Yes. Through the grace of God, we're going to make it through this.
That's
We're
right.
good. We're good.
That's it.
Okay. We got 30 seconds for me to put this back on here. So I can hear it. Welcome back to Sound Off on WJMS Radio. This is your girl, Jan. If you're just joining us, you missed the first half of an awesome discussion with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. We are talking about blended families 101, and we just finished and wrapped our discussion on discipline in a blended family household and how that works. And just some of the ins and outs and some of the pitfalls that you run into when it comes to disciplining the children once you guys join together as one family. Now that we're in the second hour here, we're going to begin our discussion of sibling rivalry, which is bound to happen no matter what when you introduce new people into the household. It can happen over normal reasons like fighting over toys or attention, or it could just be because step siblings don't embrace or welcome more kids being a part of their lives now, and they may get jealous because they're, you know, not the only kids now, or the parent has more people to give attention to. So sibling rivalry is something that's pretty unavoidable when it comes to blending families together. Now I know, Brandon, you had a son who was a lot younger and it wasn't really in the household, and you just came into a household full of women. But I mean, were there any issues that you guys experienced with sibling rivalry or anything like that when you guys actually did come together as a family?
There was. And it's a weird dynamic experience that we had because my son was hundreds of miles away from us. But the rivalry came in because he felt as if because I was here with the girls that I loved them more than I loved him. And so that's a thing that you have to deal with as well. And one of the things that I had to do was I had to make myself totally accessible to him. And I mean, whenever he wanted to call, whenever he wanted to talk, I had to make sure that I had time for him. I had to make sure that, you know, not only did I have time, but I had resources for him as well. I was paying child support, but again, that's for the home. But there were times where he needed money, you know, just for himself, or he wanted something for himself. So I had to sit down with my wife and make sure that, you know, according to our household, that we were able to do what we wanted to do, you know, related to him. And so, but early on, there was a rivalry there. Because again, he felt like I was there with them. I wasn't there with him. He couldn't understand why he couldn't see me as much as he would like, you know. And so I had to really navigate that. I spent a lot of time talking with him, a lot of time ensuring him how much I love him, how much I care, getting him to understand that, you know, myself and his mom, we're no longer a couple. We've gone our separate lives. She's doing her, I'm doing me. But that doesn't mean that either one of us love you any more or even less. And don't look at, you know, your sisters as taken away from you, but look at them as adding to you. And so we had an opportunity a couple years ago to take a big family trip down to Florida and see him. And so it was phenomenal. He stayed at the resort with us. And I tell you, I mean, it was like he was there all the time. Right. You know, so you have to put that, you know, that effort into showing that child that there shouldn't be a rivalry. Right. That is an addition. There's nothing to take away from you. A lot of times that rivalry is because that child feels like the other child or the other children are subtracting from what it is they feel they're supposed to get.
Yeah. Yeah, so that first meeting, I was going to ask you that question, you know, when your son actually did meet her daughter, was there any, like, initial tension or anything like that, or was it just this really smooth transition?
It was smooth. I mean, it was beautiful. Again, he was excited because, you know, my son, he has 5 other siblings himself, and so he's used to a big family. He's the oldest with them, but he's the youngest with us. And so, you know, it gave him an opportunity now to be the baby boy. And so, although he's a grown man, he's still the baby boy. And so he was excited about it. I mean, they just embraced him. He embraced them. I mean, we just spent time, I mean, like just days in and out just together, spending time. And so it was almost as if he was there in the home with us all the time.
And it wasn't with all of the kids, though, but...
Yes.
Wait, what did you mean?
No, 2 of the girls weren't able to make the trip. So it wasn't, you know, all of them, but
right.
One of them was. But, you know, we had all the grandchildren there.
Yeah.
You know, so they got an opportunity to see their uncle and, you know, to see their cousins. And so it was just a blessing.
And they were older, so, and because I think too, because they were older, but all of them, he was, you know, older, it just made it so much better. They just accepted each other, and just like Brandon said, it was like, hey, we had been together all along.
And you know, another part to that, Jamie, is you have to understand too that, you know, there are some times that in that relationship that the other parent could be making it seem like there's a problem.
Right.
And so it doesn't always necessarily come from the children.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The rivalry come from. It can come from what the other parent is saying as well. And that was one of the things that I had to deal with. But I'm a winner, and so I was determined. I didn't care, you know, what was said or done. You know, you're not going to feel like I want them more than you or I love them more than you. You're going to understand that I love you all the same. You know what I'm saying? You're my blood. You're my namesake. You're the one that's carrying on my name. So you got to understand how much I love you. You know what I'm saying? But this is my family as well. And so I just really was trying to use a lot of wisdom in how I handled that.
Yes.
So my question then for you guys, because I know it's, you know, the son is not in the home as anymore or that much. So for dealing with keeping everything, you know, sort of separate but equal with the girls, were there any challenges with that? Like, you know, I know you have to establish, there's 3 girls in the house and there's you, Brandon, so you have to establish a relationship with each and every one of them differently. So was there any rivalry in that way? Like, well, he likes you more or you're his favorite type of deal when you first got there, or?
Yeah, they say I got my favorite. They say I got my favorite, so, you know, And yeah, I got my favorite. But that's not saying I don't
have a favorite kid.
I do.
All of them are your favorite, though.
No. I got my favorite. What I mean by that is one that's just like me. That's why I say I got my favorite. And then there's other parts of me that the other ones are like, but it's one that's just like me. Now they know I love them all the same. I know I love them all equally. But there's one. I mean, this one is like.
But it's not really like a favorite. It's like. Because in families, you know, sometimes you think you have a favorite, but everybody have their own personality, so you deal with each of them different.
Like
so it doesn't really make it like a favorite. No, you just being funny.
We just having fun, Jay. We just having fun. No.
I know you are.
Yeah, but no,
I'm like, you're not supposed to have a favorite kid. Wait a minute, that's not supposed to be the thing.
No, I mean, let me say this.
Sometimes kids think
that's what I say. Sometimes they think, sometimes kids think that.
It's not.
But no, I mean, I can do one thing with all of them the same exact way. I mean, and they know it. They've experienced it. And so, I mean, we've all had long talks. We've all had discussions. We've all had communications. Different things as relates to our family dynamic. We've all experienced them the same, and so they know I don't love anyone more than the other.
Right.
I don't care for anyone more than the other. We've had times where they've all lived with us at the same time as grown-ups, and so there was no separate treatment as it relates to that. I mean, so they know there's no favorite when it comes to us. I love all my girls the same because all of them are unique within themselves, and so I appreciate their uniqueness, and no, they know that there's that dynamic isn't a part of our relationship.
Okay, all right, well that's good. So Madeline, how did you take to Brandon's son when you got to meet him finally? How was that?
For me, it was like an awesome thing because throughout the marriage in the beginning years, I felt like, and even like with the girls, we almost felt like we were. I don't like to use the word robbed, but we were like robbed of the opportunity to grow with him. You know, that when we got married and we knew that, you know, he had a son, it was like, oh, wow, now we have a brother. So it was like a wonderful thing, but it was also a hurting thing at the same time because, you know, he wasn't around, even to where, you know, the mother didn't really want him around because she always had the mentality of, oh, no one else is going to be a mother to my son. So we were kind of robbed of that experience on that side. So when we finally did get to like meet him, I think my first time meeting him, he was like 10 years old.
Yes.
And it was like an awesome thing. I mean, he loved me and I loved him. We like clicked automatically. And it was like, wow, this is, you know, it was really a great experience. However, again, it was like we felt like we were robbed of an opportunity to be able to grow with, you know, a son and a brother.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But we actually have a caller who's online with us right now that wants to chime in this afternoon. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is John.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
How are you? I'm a little tired, but I just had to call in, you know, just let Brandon and Madeline know, man, this platform is just so awesome. You know, we know a lot of people in this world that come from blended families, and it's really, really hard to discuss, you know, when it comes to, especially the men that's interested into a blended family with a woman with children. You know, like myself, I'm from a blended family. My wife is from a blended family. And, you know, I found it very difficult, you know, to come in. My mom, because believe it or not, I'm like, my niece is older than me. So my mother and my sister was pregnant at the same time. And my sisters, they have a different father than I do. So I do understand this topic. I know that it's real hard. In the beginning, if the two parties are not willing to get along when it comes to, you know, discipline and all of the things that you guys were touching on earlier. So this topic is very, very relevant to the world and to the nation, you know. So I commend you guys
Thanks, bro.
Challenge that God has started upon you guys. Please keep going forward. And I know that the world needs to hear it, and who better than you two to get it out there.
Thanks, bro.
Man, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, John. Everything. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you for allowing it to happen.
Of course. Like, thank you for like, you're thanking me for allowing it to happen, but you're the reason why I know them in the first place. So I should be thanking you for putting them in touch with me, because this has been a great show for me as well.
So thank you. I still see you guys doing love all.
All right, love you too.
Thanks, John. See you, Evan. Bye. Yeah, love that guy. He's just a good person to know. Like, John and Ebony are just a really great couple to have, put it in your back pocket. Like,
Yeah.
Such good example,
Yes.
of how to do it. So, big shout out to John and Ebony for calling in, for listening, and for helping us and actually putting the pieces together for me to actually meet, Brandon and Madeline. I appreciate it 100%. All right, so right before what were we even talking about before John called in? He got us all distracted now. Oh, we're talking about Madeline, how you met his son.
Yeah.
How that went the first time it happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right, so that's better. Now we're back on track, right?
Yes.
There we go.
Sometimes we get thrown off with the calls, it's okay. But so I want to talk a little bit about holidays now. Before we take a quick break, I want to see, because, he's obviously not there with you guys, how does holidays work, or how do holidays work for you? Do you go down there and spend time, or does he come up and visit every now and then? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
Holidays are separate. Again, he's grown now.
Yeah.
He has his family. He has 4 kids, and so his focus is really on that. We communicate all holidays, birthdays, just during the course of life. So we really don't have that flowing quite the way we wanted it to be. Again, because we had a lot of kickback, even from his mom growing up. Again, because of insecurities and all the other things that she dealt with. But we made sure that we stayed mature. We made sure that we kept the right posture as it related to that, and just letting him understand that even though we're not there, even though we're not, physically spending time, we're here. And if you ever wanted to come, if you ever want to see us, whatever you need, we'll always make it available for you. And I think even doing things like that, you just have to be accessible. If you're accessible, you can weather anything that comes in, that particular part of that dynamic. And we just remain accessible to him. And so because of that, it showed him some things now that he's a father, what he needs to do, how he needs to make sure certain relationships are intact and in order. And so that now, because he's experienced some things, with the baby mom, now you get to understand the things that I had to deal with as a baby dad. Why I made some of the choices I made that you may have thought growing up weren't particularly the best ones,
right.
But now you got a clear understanding of why I did what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Well, let's take one more quick break. When we come back on the other side, I actually have a funny story to tell about my own dealings with step-siblings, if you will. So I haven't actually told the story before, and if my father's listening, he may want to call in. But I'm going to tell a little quick funny story when we come back from the other side of the break about how I dealt with having step-siblings the first time that I got to meet them. So Everybody stay tuned. When we come back, we'll hit that as well. Phone lines are still open, folks. If you want to give us a call, 914-619-5267, and we'll be right back. All right, we are clear.
This is good. All right.
Yes, let me turn that down a little bit. Oh man, yeah. So I got a funny story to tell. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I want to hear this.
Definitely want to hear that.
So I forgot. Like I said, I forgot that I had dealt or had been in a blended family before the conversation I'm having with you guys. And now that I'm like thinking about it and I'm really like piecing it all together, I'm like, oh wait, you do have a story to tell about that actually. So it'll be funny.
And Jamie, that's our desire, that most people will go into this relationship not even realizing that it's blended. That's the ultimate goal. Because I think when we focus in on it just being blended, then it seems divided.
Yep.
It seems separated.
Yep.
situation happened. And my mom actually called me after last week's episode because she was like, what blended family are you in? And I'm like, Mom, we are a blended family. Like, what is she talking about? And she's like, what? I'm like, Nikki is from a different father, and you and Daddy got together, and now you guys have kids. That makes us a blended family. She's like, I actually forgot about that. I'm like, I did too. That's why I was surprised I forgot. Like, because it was never a thing.
Exactly.
It was never an issue. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll mention that when we get back on air.
Yeah.
That's not even the story that I want to tell. I got to tell a different story.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. So I want to make sure, continue to have these conversations with you guys, because I think blended families need to have this kind of platform. Like John said, this is a really good platform for us. So I definitely want to make sure that we can continue to communicate with each other and, either appear on each other's shows or whatever, or just continue to stay relevant in each other's lives, for as long as possible, so we can continue to bring that platform. So maybe thinking of some ways that we can continue to work together. Even if it's, you guys turning your In the Blender series into a podcast that we play on the station or something like that, even that would be wonderful. So I'm just throwing ideas around and thinking how we can continue the partnership here, because I really like being able to have these discussions.
Most definitely.
It's relevant and it's needed.
It's needed. Yeah, it's needed. I mean, so many people are coming to me, even like some of my coworkers are coming to me and saying, "Oh my God, I watched your broadcast. I'm in a blended family. It's been a blessing." And not to sound any kind of way about it, a lot of them have been Caucasians. They've been coming to me, several of them don't even work with me anymore, but they'll send me messages via Facebook and be like, "Girl, I watched your broadcast. It was so good. This is needed. I wish I had this when I was coming up." So, I mean, it just to hear that, just to know that, we're touching somebody's life, that's what it's about. It's not about us. It's about helping someone else.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And so I'm going to be thinking about different ways that we can continue to work together and figure this out, because I would love to continue to have these discussions and continue to give you guys a platform to discuss it, and obviously the need is there, and like you said, it's relevant and the information is current. So, and this is the time, like this is where we are now. Like we are a blended family more than we are a regular nuclear family. So I think that more than ever we need to have this platform available for discussion to happen and stuff like that. So give me some time to mull it over. I'll figure out how we can continue to make this work. Or if you guys have ideas, you can let me know. Go ahead, yeah.
Definitely.
Well, we're excited. Again, whatever capacity that you want to continue to keep this going, we're excited to be a part of it. There's so much that we haven't discussed as it relates to the blended family. What we've gone through, how we've overcome them. There's some things when people, find out about it, it's going to blow their mind. Like, how did you guys make it from that? But again, through faith, perseverance, really seeking the face of God, you can overcome any situation.
We got about 20 seconds before we come back here. We're getting ready to come back. I don't want to cut you off.
No.
My apologies.
A lot of people. Thank you, Niecy. Yes.
Hey,
Welcome back to Sound Off on WJMS Radio. This is your girl, Jams. If you're just joining us, I have special guest Brandon and Madeline Hyman on the phone. They are a happily married couple of 19 years, currently in a blended family, and we're talking about the ins and outs of sibling rivalries that happen in a blended family and how to kind of make sure that the kids are okay. Like, you guys are okay in a relationship, but you got to make sure the kids are cool too with it, because this is a big transition for them as well. Phone lines are still wide open. Thanks to the folks that have called in so far and the folks that are continuing to communicate with us via Facebook, and also the folks that have sent us in questions and tweets and things like that. So before the break, I promised you guys a funny story. So first of all, I'll tell you the first story, and then I'm going to tell you the funny story. So the first story was the first episode that we did last week. I was talking about how I myself am in a blended family, and going through the ins and outs and all that stuff. So I got off air, and my mom will usually call me after a show and talk to me about the show and stuff like that. So she called me. She was like, "What blended family are you in?" And I'm like, "Ma, we're a blended family. Like, what are you talking about?" She's like, "No, we're not." I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, Nikki's not from my father, and, you know, like, yeah, we're a blended family. She's like, she never even thought about it, and I didn't either, because in my household, it was never a thing. You know, my dad adopted my sister when she was young, and it was never, ever really a thing. So, like I said, when I was researching this, I didn't even realize it until I was knee-deep in research that I myself am in a blended family. And even my mom, who was like the starter of the blended family, didn't know that it was happening. So she had a good laugh, and I had a good laugh. And she's like, I didn't even think of that. And I was like, I know, me either. But, so the funny story that I was going to tell you guys is, you know, my parents are separated at this point, and, you know, they did it when I was old enough to understand, so, like, I didn't lash out or anything crazy, but I'm the youngest of three, so I'm the baby. And I usually will not say that or admit that. I will usually say I'm the youngest, I'm not a baby, blah, blah, blah. You know, so anyway, youngest of three kids. My dad met another woman. I think she has 3 kids as well. So it came time, you know, for me to meet Daddy's new girlfriend and her children. So I, you know, down when I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, so I drove down to Pennsylvania and I drove to his house and I got there and I happened to walk up and this young kid, you know, comes up to me as I'm walking up and he's like, oh, you must be my new big sister. And I remember looking at him and going, get out of here. Like, what are you talking about? No, like, I don't have any younger siblings. I am the youngest child, so I don't know what this is or what you're talking about, but I am not sure who this is. I was totally in brat mode. I was like, no, I am the youngest. I'm not playing this, da-da-da-da. So, anyway, long story short, she has kids that are younger than I do. 2 of them, I believe. The girl and the boy are younger than me. So, I have 2 younger and 1 that's older than me. So, came in, of course, met the girlfriend and met the family. I was just, because I'm so used to being the brat and being the youngest, I was like, nope, not doing it, not interested in having a younger sibling, or 2 for that matter. I'm the youngest child, period, as a story, and I was like totally against it. But they've been together now for years, and we're fine. But I just remember, I look back at that, and I don't even know if my dad knows that happened, or if my parents know that happened, but it did, and I laughed, because, like, I am totally that younger sibling that's like, not accepting it. Nope, can't have it. You know, but it's just funny. So I had to tell that story because I realized that I am definitely like the typical youngest child that is not doing well with the transition. So it makes me laugh.
And you know what? And it's funny that you said that because that's the way a lot of the youngest ones are. When that dynamic changes and now they're not the baby anymore. Sometimes it can be a struggle, you know what I'm saying? But again, sometimes you appreciate the fact that now you can kind of do the bossing around, sort of say. Mm-hmm. And you're the ones that can now give orders and instructions. So, you know, I'm glad to hear that you understood that there were some benefits to being the big sister too.
Yeah, I'm good now. I'm definitely good now. But we have a caller that just called in and wants to chime in this afternoon. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Jamie. Calling in as requested.
Oh, no. It's my dad.
Hey, Dad. How you doing, Dad?
I'm visiting my father, your grandfather, and I just pulled into the parking lot when you mentioned if my dad's listening, you might want to call in. And interesting story. But yeah, I kind of got the sense that, you know, as I came into the blended family, you know, that I'm part of now, you know, that of the 3 of you, your brother and your sister, you were the one that was having a little bit of issues. But yeah, I agree. You know, Millie kids have reached out, and you know, we are a Brady bunch family now. She has 3, and I have 3. She had 2 boys and a girl, and I had 2 girls and a boy. So yeah, we're the Brady bunch. But yeah, I didn't catch the last show because I was out of the country and didn't have internet access. But you know, I really appreciate this conversation and the things that, you know, Brandon and Madeline, you guys have been saying, and many of it has struck true with you know, my life and my situation in coming into an existing family. Granted, you know, my children, Jamie is the youngest, and you know, Millie's kids are all grown as well. But you know, a couple of things that you said in the prior hour that I wanted to comment on because I was driving. And Brandon, you mentioned it about sitting down with your new Amy and Nikki and Steven, I consider her one of my children as well, even though I'm not biologically her father. And the same thing with her brothers. So, you know, your points there are absolutely spot on. As to my youngest daughter, I'm not gonna throw her totally under the bus, but I'm gonna run it real close.
You're breaking up. The phone's breaking up.
No. At one point, she did tell me, you know, she did kind of question, you know, what I was doing with this new chapter in my life, and you know, we talked about it, and you know, and I said ultimately, you know, she has come to me, you know, those children, and they have met her, and you know, the families have come together. You know, and I think, and I believe from what I can see and what I have experienced, that as time goes on, they're becoming a tighter and tighter knit group across the board. So it does come along with time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it took some time for me to get used to it. I was definitely not feeling it when that first happened. I was like, no, I don't have a younger sibling. I'm the youngest sibling. Like, I don't play that. But I'm good now. I'm fine, but yeah. It was definitely a transition period for me and some adjustment, but it was, you know, it happened and we're good now, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a great subject, you know, and I think, you know, Brandon and Madeline, you guys are offering an exceptional example of how you make this work.
Thank you.
Both from the standpoint of, you know, the struggles that you have to go through, which we have to go through as we learn the new people that look up to us, and also, you know, the positive things that you've done. So, you know, kudos to you on your success with that, and I appreciate it. So,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling in, Dad. I appreciate it.
all right, sweetheart. Great show.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was awesome,
That was
James.
good.
I was like, oh, man.
That was awesome. I'm glad your dad got a chance to call in and really share. You know, a lot of times people think coming into this is going to be a cakewalk, you know, and that, you know, you have all the answers, but there's so many different things that come to place in a blended family that if you don't ask and you don't inquire, you're going to be clueless especially when it comes to making decisions, making choices, making changes. And so, again, we appreciate your dad calling in. You guys seem to be a great example of the victories in the blended family. And I wish more blended families, especially the men that are part of blended family, will call in and really share that because it's going to be a help to know that we as men, that we overcome in this area and that we're successful in this area. So again, Dad, we thank you for calling in and just sharing your experience with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. So I'm glad he did. And I'm not sure if my mom is listening because she might have heard the first half, but she usually will call me at the end of the show too. But they're you know, staples in the show. They'll call in if I'm talking about something, or they'll voice their opinion. I love it. You know, I love having the parents call in because it's like you get to see the wisdom that I have that stems from them because you know they're both extremely intelligent people. So I love it. But I want to take another quick break because we do have a whole other topic to talk about. We're actually supposed to end the conversation with the key to a successful blended family. Before we do that, though, I'm going to give you guys actually an opportunity. If there's any closing thoughts that you have or advice that you want to give to parents on sibling rivalry and how to make sure that each kid feels you know, appreciated and loved in the family environment, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to do that, and then we'll take a quick break.
Well, I'll say if it's possible, try to get them together as early as possible.
Yep.
If it's possible, you want to get them together as early as possible, and sit down with all of them at the same time. If you're able to do it, that way you can express some things, they can express some things, and everybody can go in it knowing where they stand.
Yeah, because it gives them an opportunity to be able to get to know each other.
Exactly.
You know, one-on-one.
Exactly.
and establish their relationship as the children.
Exactly. I mean, because again, we're not the only blended family in our family. We have a lot of blended families in our family. So we've seen a lot of things that just work.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of successes. And so we don't really attribute our success to us. We attribute our success to a lot of our families. You know, again, I talked about two of my aunts that I've seen in the blended family. But also Madeline, she has family members that have been a tremendous blessing. They have no idea how much they've blessed us through what they've done in their families. And so make sure you can get them together as soon as possible. Sit them down and let them know your heart concerning each and every one of them.
And treat each of them the same. Let them know that they're one family. They're not a separate family. They're one. Just try to make sure that you can keep that unity there as much as possible.
And get rid of words like step.
Yes.
Get rid of words like step. I hate steps. The only steps in your house should be the ones that's leading in it and the ones you're walking up and down. Those are only steps. This is not my stepwife.
We are a family.
We are a family. And so get rid of that word step.
All right, well, you know what, let's take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to round out our discussion with some keys to a successful blended family, and also just any more listener questions that may come while we are discussing that part as well. So I know there's one more question that I got from the audience via Twitter, so I'm going to ask that question as well. But again, the phone lines are still wide open to the end of the show, folks. If you want to call in and voice your opinions, the number is 914-619-5267, and we'll be right back.
We're on a little break, guys. On a station break, so.
Yep. Quick station break. I'm playing blended family again because this song is perfect for what we're talking about. So.
Great. Thank you, Ebony.
Yeah, no, but like there's not that many songs about blended families. Like when I was looking up and thinking through my music Rolodex on, you know, what songs they have for blended families, I'm like, there aren't any. There really aren't. She's the only one I think that has done an actual song called Blended Family where she talks about a blended family. Everything else is like, you know, fathers and daughters, fathers and sons, mothers and sons, mothers and daughters, family as a unit, but like nothing specifically about a blended family.
You might need to write some songs.
We're going to change that. We're going to change that.
Yeah, you guys got to make some songs.
Yeah.
Blockbuster, you know, some Billboard hits so we can start playing those.
Yeah, we're going to change that.
Indeedy.
Yeah, that's so funny. My dad called in. I was like, he's gonna call in or something. I know it. I don't think he's heard. I think he's heard that story about when DJ approached me. I was like, you must be my new big sister, and I was like, man, listen. I was not in the mood for it. I was not having it. Like, I'm a big little kid. Like, I am not her older sister. Okay. But yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah. So we'll have about probably 15 minutes to discuss the keys to a successful blended family when we come back. So, and then again, I want to give you the opportunity to close out the mini-series in the episode with any last tips of advice, anything that's going on with you guys on the horizon, you know, if you have plans to expand in the blender or anything like that, and just your contact information so people can continue to reach out to you and view your platform.
Yeah.
Use a couple of
Thank you, guys. On the station break.
Welcome back to Sound Off on WJMS Radio. This is the last 15 minutes of the episode. If you're just joining us, you missed a really great discussion about blended families. We're just talking about sibling rivalry and how to make sure each child feels appreciated and loved in the family. First hour was all about discipline and how to establish authoritative roles in the new family. Right now, we're going to start our discussion, or round out our discussion, if you will, with some tips on how to be a successful blended family. Some best practices and things that you should think about doing to make it successful and to make it as smooth of a transition as possible for both you and the children. So I'm going to open the microphone up to you, Brandon and Madeline. What advice do you have for folks, or what keys to a successful family do you guys have for the audience today?
One of the biggest ones would be patience. The Bible tells us that let patience have her perfect work, that you may be entire, wanting nothing. And so you have to come at this with a level of patience, understanding that some things are going to take time, that some things may even take longer than you so desire. But if you're willing to hang on in there, if you're willing to persevere, if you're willing to push through, you'll accomplish everything that you want to accomplish out of this blended family dynamic. And you can show the world just what you had, Jamie, not even knowing that you were part of a blended family, but yet you were fully a part of a blended family. And that's the ultimate goal. So one of the biggest things we would say is patience. That's the biggest key, patience. What else?
Another one would be agreement between the two parents. You always want to make sure that you're in agreement with whatever discipline styles, whatever decisions being made for the family. You want to be in agreement and to be in unity and always be unified in front of the children.
Exactly. And then you want to make sure that you prioritize the children. Make sure that they know that they are a priority. That was one of the things that I didn't learn early on, or that I learned early on that I didn't know coming into this, was to make my girls and my son a priority. Again, it was all about me, myself, and I, and then my wife, and then later on the children. And so in the big scheme of things, they felt as if, they weren't really a part of what was going on. They were just here for the ride. And so you want to make sure that you prioritize the children, make sure that they feel like they want it and loved and needed and appreciated.
Yes. Next thing, you also want to understand that everybody needs are important. That spouse, that biological parent that's in the home, their needs are important. That blended parent that's in there, their needs are important. The children that's involved, their needs are important. So you want to understand that everybody's needs are important.
That's right. And for the blended parent, learn how to be the good guy or the good girl. And what I mean by that is allow the natural parent, the biological parent, to do some of the things that they need to do, and you just walk along with it. You got to use wisdom on it. You got to have some understanding, some tact to it. But learn to be the good guy. Once I learned how to be the good guy, I really became the good guy. And I became such a good guy that even my grandkids, they just, they want to spend time and they want to do things. Why? Because you learn to be the good guy.
Also, you don't want to strive to outdo that biological parent that's not in the home. If their biological parent are doing great things or buying their children stuff, support that. Don't try to go and outdo something that they're doing, because you don't want to bring any type of division between yourself and that parent that's not in the home. So don't try to outdo that biological parent that's not in the home.
And don't get caught up in the child trying to make you outdo that. Now, that's a dynamic as well, because sometimes that child can see what their biological parent is, and then they'll come to you and try to see what you going to do. Like, my daddy just bought me a bike. What you going to buy me?
Right.
No outdoing.
Trying to outdo each other.
Also seek to know the likes and the dislikes of the children as well as the spouse. One of the things I wanted to know what my kids like. I wanted to know what they liked, what they didn't like, what they loved to do, what they didn't love to do. And so it made it easy for me, because you don't want to suggest things that the kids don't like, and you don't want to participate, have them participating in things that they really don't want to participate in. So find out their likes and their dislikes.
Another good thing is don't be a parent blocker. And what I mean by that is that biological parent that's in the home, don't try to block that that parent in the home from spending time with the children. Also, don't try to block out that time where they can't spend with the biological parent that's not in the home. So don't be a parent blocker.
Yeah, I had to learn that one quickly because I was a parent blocker. Again, I love spending time with my wife. I mean, I just wanted it all to myself. I was real selfish as it relates to her and her time. And so, don't laugh at me, Jim. I'm sensitive. And so, you don't want to be a parent blocker. And once I realized that not only did she need that time with them, but they needed that time with her, once I realized that, it was easy to bag back and allow them to do what they needed to do in order to have that successful relationship.
Correct.
Don't talk about the children's or the child's biological parent to that child. You guys heard me say that many times. My wife is the queen of that. And what I mean by that is she never talked negative about their dad. I mean, there were things that have happened and transpired where I'm like, you ain't gonna say nothing? And she's like, no. I mean, they'll see, but I'm not gonna be the one to give them an opinion about them. They'll have their own opinion about them when they get older. And so I love her for that. I appreciate her for that because it also taught them how to honor. Again, you guys know me, I'm a Bible person. And so the Bible says, honor your mother and father that your days may be long. And because of that, my girls are living a successful life because we showed them how to honor their natural dad. And so you want to make sure that you don't talk negative or talk down about that parent to the child.
And a couple more things. You want to always just show love. Anytime you're dealing with one another, deal with them in love. You want to respect one another, honor one another, respect each other, love each other, honor each other, and just do what you have to do to make it work.
Yeah, because I want to say in 20 years, I may have not even an argument, a discussion with either one, with the biological dad or even my son's mother, because I was just intent on not having that type of relationship with them. We're going to be very cordial. We're going to be very respectful. We're going to entertain each other in a more mature manner. And so we just set some boundaries and some guidelines onto how we're going to communicate, and we just stuck with it.
And one last thing too is forgiveness.
Yes.
You want to ask for forgiveness, and you want to forgive.
That's big. That's big. Again, I talked about sitting down with my girls. Even my son, I had to sit down with him and discuss some things with him. Even at his house, on the phone, we've had some conversations. And Dad is not too big to apologize.
Right.
He's not too big to say he's sorry that he blew it, that he messed up. Because I want to show them as a parent, you may not always make the best decisions. You may not always make the best choices. But you should be a man or woman enough to sit down with your children and say, forgive me, I'm sorry. Let's move on.
So that's some of the tips.
You guys got a lot of the ones on my list already, which is great. So I'm just going to add a couple in myself that I found and I thought were pretty good pieces of advice. One of the ones I found was to come up with a set of house rules that you both can agree on. So that you may have separate ideas on, what's acceptable and what's, unacceptable in regards to children's behavior. But just setting up common ground rules between the two of you that are unified and putting up that unified front to the children to enforce those rules can go a long way in the household to establishing some order and not having so much chaos. And then the second thing I found was that you still have to have date night. Even if you, especially if you have two sets of children, if you both come into the relationship with children, you have to make sure that the both of you get out and enjoy some time as a couple. Especially if things are rocky because it's involving the kids or discipline or whatever. You gotta take a step back. Remember why you guys are blended together in the first place, and it's about the husband and the wife being the base of the family, and the reason why everyone is there together. So you got to make sure you never lose sight of that reason, and make sure you take time for yourself as a couple to just enjoy each other's company and remember why you blended together in the first place. And then lastly, just one thing I really, really loved was they said that you have a second chance to model love for your kids, so do it the right way. And I thought that was really, really amazing. So those are my little bits that I have to add into what you guys said. So definitely appreciate all the stuff that you guys put forward, because that's all stuff that I hadn't even considered or thought about. So you guys hit some really, really good points in there.
And I love that second opportunity, Jamie, that you brought up. That's one of the things, and although we didn't discuss it or share it, that was one of my staples, and it is still one of my staples, is to present to my family another opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I do that. You guys heard we say we have one of our granddaughters living with us, and it's just another opportunity to do life and parenting better. And so it's an honor, it's a privilege to be able to take a family and just maximize and build upon some things that you quite didn't do great or as good as you should have done the first time, and understand that here's another opportunity and just maximize it.
Okay. So last couple of questions I have for you guys today before I give you the opportunity to shout out your contact information is, what's next? You know, like what's on the horizon for the two of you? What's the plan for In the Blender? How long do you plan on running the show? And just what can we expect to see down the line from Brandon and Madeline?
We got a couple things brewing. Some things we're going to share, some things we just going to show. But we are working on some apparel. So we do want to share that. We're working on some In the Blender apparel. That's going to be awesome, exciting once we get that out. Also, too, a book. We're working on a book. Again, we want to share, because there are a lot of things that, of course, we weren't able to share on air. Even in our broadcast, there's some things that we won't share, but it will be shared in our book. It's going to be somewhat like a tell-all. And so it's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting. And those are some of the things that we're working on.
Yeah. Just continuing to put this word out.
Taking it worldwide.
Yeah. And this is something that's just going to be ongoing. It's not anything that we're doing for a time period. It's ongoing. This is just information that we'll continue to share weekly, Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. And, you know, anybody that, you know, may want to have us to come and share information, wherever they may be, you know, we're willing to just give you all us.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And where can folks find you guys? Where can they reach out if they want to get in touch with you?
They can reach us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com. Again, weareablendedfamily@gmail.com. Also, we're working on getting a website set up and everything, so we'll have more information to share. But right now, via Facebook and email.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, Brandon and Madeline, thank you guys so much for being with me, not once but twice this month, and being able to give us such clear and amazing content and clarity on the blended family dynamic and how everything seems to work and how you guys have made a successful blended family yourself. It's been a really, really awesome conversation, and I look forward to continuing our discussion later on down the line, of course.
Well, thank you for having us. We enjoyed it. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad, for calling in. Great job. We just love
Thank you
it.
for all those that called in the last couple of weeks. I mean, we have really enjoyed this. We thank you for the opportunity, the platform to put the to share the information. So we're looking for more, you know, doors of opportunity to open up for us to get that information out.
Yes, we love you guys, and everybody. We love you.
And we're going to try to continue to put a partnership together with the three of us, so I'll definitely be in contact with you guys about that. In the meantime, if anybody missed their contact information, it will go up on our Facebook page one more time this afternoon after the show clears, and you can reach out to them via our Facebook page at WJMS Radio, or like they said, at weareblendedfamily@gmail.com. I want to thank all the folks behind the scenes that help make Sound Off and WJMS possible. You guys know who you are, and I appreciate all you do. Thanks to our sponsor for today. Today's show is brought to you by Guidance Solutions, LLC. They are a business that helps you make your business run more smoothly. So please make sure you reach out to them if you have any questions. Mention WJMS Radio for some free goodies. And it's, what is it, GIDUS Solutions, LLC on Instagram. And it's all one word, no spaces or anything like that. And you can also find them on Facebook at the same name. So I'll be back again next week with a brand new episode. Special guest Amari Washington will be joining me as an actor, which is really exciting. So I'll be back again next Saturday from 12 to 2. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, for listening. Thank you again, Brandon and Madeline, for being with me. And I'll see you guys all next Saturday right here on WJMS Radio.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
We love you.
All right, and we're clear. We are...